My name is Reshama Shaikh, and today I am presenting on the State of PyLadies for 2021, which marks the 10-year anniversary of the founding of PyLadies. A little bit about me. I'm a statistician by training. I have a master's in statistics and an MBA in technology and business analytics from NYU. I'm an organizer for New York City PyLadies. I have been for almost the past 4 years. And I'm also the founder of Data Umbrella, which is a community for underrepresented persons in data science. I am on Twitter, LinkedIn, and GitHub at Reshama S, so feel free to follow me there. Just a little bit about the PyLadies chapter. It was founded in 2012, so almost 9 years ago. We currently have 4,200 members. We have had 175 events over the last, 9 years. And our website is nyc.pyladies.com. And if you're interested, you can find other ways to connect with us, other social media platforms. So a little bit of background about my presentation. Last July, I wrote an article called The Hidden Depth of PyLadies, where I looked into how many chapters there were and such. And so this presentation is an update with that data. Okay. And here is just a brief overview. And so I'm going to be going over to the article, but as a reference, the link to the article is at reshamas.github.io, which is my blog, and then 2021 State of PyLadies. If you Google 2021 State of PyLadies, it should bring you to the article. So a little bit about some background in this. Okay, just going to make it a little bit bigger. Before I get into it, so we all know what PyLadies is, and as I said, 2021 is a 10-year anniversary, so it was a good time to update the statistics. I was going to do it over the summer, but since April is the 10-year anniversary, this seemed like a good time. The first table is a summary of all the followers in each of the social media platforms. As a comparison, we have over 6,000 members in Slack and all the other platforms. So to do this analysis, I used 3 primary data sources. The first is the PyLadies Meetup dashboard, which was created about a year ago. And what is on this dashboard are all the meetup groups, all the PyLadies meetup groups that are on Meetup. So we can see that there's a total of 77 chapters, but 75 cities. And the reason for that is there's a couple of duplicate cities in there. For meetup groups, they represent 29 countries and have a total of almost 58,000 members. And this gives an overview of how many are active and inactive. This gives a breakdown of regional breakdowns. We can see that here that the San Francisco chapter is the largest, and the PyLadies is the second, and London is the third. And if you come down here at the very end, it gives a table of all the meetup chapters that exist. So you can sort by any of these fields. You can also search here. For instance, if you want to know which meetup chapters are in Germany, we just type Germany there, and so that is that. So that is one data source. But PyLadies chapters around the world not all of them use Meetup, and so this is a subset of the data. So the other data source is PyLadies registered chapter email list, and this comes officially from PyLadies. It's all the chapters that were ever created where they officially registered and received an email address with the domain PyLadies.com. Then there's a third resource, which is a list that's compiled by me using internet searches of various social media platforms, and this is a very manual method. So that's if I found any indication of a PyLadies chapter on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, just something that came up via a Google search, which it just means that there are in fact chapters in my search that have not been officially registered. And here's a breakdown. So we have 77 chapters on the Meetup dashboard. Remove 2 for duplicates, it's about 75, and we have an estimate number of members. The registered chapter is 243. There are some duplicates as well because sometimes a chapter will discontinue or stop and they'll open up a new email. And so that's about 236 unique. The member count is unknown. And then there's my inventory that I've done, which I combined these two plus the additional searches that I found in Google. And the result is 260 chapters total, and the estimated membership is 100,000 to 120,000. And I'll sort of discuss where I get that number from. Okay. So this right here is a visualization. I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller so we can see the whole thing. And it just represents, for instance, the meetup dashboard is 75. So 72 of them are registered, 3 of them are not. The registered chapters, these numbers add up to 236. And then if we add all of these with that, it gives us a total of 260. So it gives an idea of where the data is coming from. Okay. For the groups that are in the meetup dashboard but not officially registered, these are the 3. Perth, Australia, Arlington, and Sunnyvale. Sunnyvale is in the process of right now being registered, and these 2 chapters are inactive. And there's 21 other ones that we can look at more closely later. And of those 260 chapters, about 120 are identified as active. And what active is, in my definition, is one of their social media platforms has some activity within the last year. Okay, and so the membership count that I have is which of those social media platforms is the most active and what are the members or followers in that. And so that sums up to about that. Okay, and so this plot is created using Plotly, and it gives a visualization. Let me just make it just a little bit smaller. There we go. There we go. Okay. And so it tells us that there's active 119. This is a Plotly graph, so we can hover over it. There's inactive and such. Just to show you a little bit about Plotlys, you can zoom in if you want. You can do that. You can select and zoom in. If you want to go back, you can hit the home button, which is really cool. You can download this plot as a PNG. You can zoom in. You can select as well, and this home button is the one to get back to the regular graph. Next question that we might be interested in is what is the breakdown by region of the PyLadies chapters? So South America has the most active chapters at 41. North America and Europe are almost tied at 23, 22. And North America also has the most number of inactive chapters. And so again, we can hover over here and it tells us it's North America inactive 23. As well, we can see that Africa has 13 chapters. Where it says not found, it means at one point these chapters existed and they closed down. So there's no social media presence for them. For instance, there's no Facebook group, there's no Twitter account, there's no meetup group as well. And there's a couple of new chapters, and the reason they're marked new is we know they just started and we haven't been able to find exactly what platform they're using yet, but it can take a while for that to show up. Okay. So another question we might be interested in is how many countries are represented and what is the breakdown of country? Well, it's 62 countries have a PyLadies chapter. That's really impressive. And the top 5 countries with the most chapters are Brazil at 30, the United States at 21 in terms of active, right? Nigeria has 6, India has 5, and Germany has 5. And so, yeah, again, it says the US has the most also inactive chapters as well. So at one point, a number of chapters have become inactive or have closed down. And so this graph only shows the top, I believe it's about 15 countries. For this, I just showed the ones that have which countries have at least 3 chapters. I just didn't put the other countries because the graph was very cluttered. The next question we might be interested in is what are the main platforms used for community building? And so the majority of the chapters use Facebook, which is primarily preferred by Brazil, and Meetup, which is more widely used in the United States. You can see that, 55 use Facebook, which are in this graph, red is active. Meetup is 43. We have almost 20 inactive Meetup groups. We can see there's some presence on Twitter as well. And there's the platforms that are used are Instagram, chapter website, WhatsApp, YouTube, Discord. The next question we have is, what is the estimated membership by country? So we can see Brazil here. If we hover over it, it's hard to read that number there, but if I hover over it, it tells me 37,000. So one thing to take into consideration is there can be country-level chapters, and Brazil is one that has a country-level chapter. And so the country-level chapter is a Facebook page which has almost 10,000 members. So we just want to, keep in mind that Brazil has Facebook pages for each of the cities and so we may be getting a double count, right? So when I count up the total number of members by their primary platform, I get 117,000. But because we know that we might be we are double counting in some cases, but the extent of double counting is not known, I'm using a range to estimate the number of PyLadies members. So it's somewhere between, I would say, 100,000 to 120,000. And this graph also, I am only showing about, I believe it's like the top 10 or 12 countries, just for the sake of being able to see the visualization. What's the estimated membership by chapter? So if you recall, when I look at the PyLadies, the Meetup dashboard, it tells me that it's PyLadies SF and New York are 1 and 2, right? But when I come here, and this is the analysis where I've used 3 different data sources. Actually, so we're gonna leave. So there's Brazil as well, which is the country level chapter. So I'm not gonna look at that. But city, I can see San Francisco is still number 1. Sao Paulo is number 2. This information is not included in the Meetup dashboard because they don't use Meetup. And so New York is actually the 3rd largest chapter. And we can see the other chapters as well: London, Seattle, Madrid, Poland. And if it's difficult to see, you can hover over and it gives, it's easier to see what the numbers in the city name are. And this is a list of the top 10. The resources to identify the chapter, I used the Meetup dashboard. I used the PyLadies homepage of locations, as well as the official list of chapters. There's a Twitter list of PyLadies chapters as well. There is a Brazil chapter list, which is helpful, Czechia, as well as PyLadies Slack, where there's a channel that announces new chapters. And then I did searches of PyLadies on all these social media platforms, such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and such. And so these are all the different platforms that PyLadies groups around the world use to organize and communicate and create community. They are Meetup, Facebook. They either use a PyLadies website or their own website. They use Twitter, Instagram. They may organize directly on PyLadies global Slack, or they may create their own Slack team. They use WhatsApp, YouTube, LinkedIn, Google Groups, Telegram. They use Eventbrite, GitHub as well, and Discord, and probably some other more platforms that I'll probably find out later. There's a few countries that have country-level chapters as well, and this is a list of those. Some of the chapters, over the years have been dissolved or rolled into other communities, such as Django Girls, Girl Develop It, General Python groups, PyData Meetup groups. For this past year, a number of Meetup groups actually closed this year, which is a shame, but it also means that those members are no longer, they're no longer counted as well. So it's sort of a shame that the Meetup groups close rather than, maybe doing outreach to find new organizers. That might be something that's better to do. If you're interested in starting a new chapter, join the PyLadies Global Slack and read the read through the kit. And I just want to share one more thing on Twitter. Okay, I'm going to go to Twitter here. Okay. There is a list on Twitter that I've created. It is a list of PyLadies organizers from around the world, current and former. And if you want to follow them, these have all the members, and feel free to follow the list. And I will also add this list to the blog so people have it. Thank you for joining me.